May I proceed, Your Honor?
Please.
Be careful to whom you trust. Betrayal always comes from the people you trusted the most. We are here today because the victim, Sawyer Smith, was betrayed by one of the people she trusted the most, her best friend, Reagan Klein. As a result of this betrayal, the defendant is being charged with committing count 1, false report of an emergency. Through the testimony of the victim, Sawyer Smith, Cameron Holmes, decorated SWAT officer Keegan Lopez, and renowned forensic linguist Dr. Dakota Chung, the prosecution will prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant is guilty of the count. With regards to count 1, false report of an emergency, you will first hear from the victim, Sawyer Smith. Ms. Smith will testify that on the night of August 14th, she was having a quiet night, when all of a sudden, her house was swatted. You will hear from Ms. Smith that as a result of her home being swatted, she fell down the stairs and broke her femur. You will also hear Ms. Smith testify that as she was rushed to the hospital in an ambulance, she told Officer Keegan Lopez that it must have been the defendant who sent the false text tip. Ms. Smith told Officer Lopez it must have been the defendant behind the swatting incident because the victim and the defendant had a falling out. The victim had spent the last few weeks catfishing the victim, and just hours before the swatting incident, the defendant had threatened the victim with post. You deserve to die. I'm going to get you for this. You just wait. I hate you. When you're dead, no one will even miss you, you monstrous landlord person. You think you can stick me with a $34,000 lawsuit and get away with it? Watch your back, Sawyer. I'm coming for you. Next, you will hear from Cameron Holmes. Ms. Holmes will testify that on the night of August 14th, she was at the defendant's apartment. Ms. Holmes will testify that at 9:08 p.m., when the false text tip was sent, the defendant was the only person at or near the flip phone used to send the text tip. Next, prosecution will call Officer Keegan Lopez to the stand. Officer Lopez will testify that on the night of August 14th, SWAT officers responded to a text tip about a hostage situation at the victim's home. Officer Lopez will also testify that after arriving at the victim's home, she discovered there was no hostage situation and called in the text as a fake. You will also hear from Officer Lopez that as she rode along in the ambulance with the victim, and that inside the ambulance, the victim told Officer Lopez about being catfished, and told Officer Lopez it must have been the defendant who sent the false text tip, to which Officer Lopez agreed. Finally, you will hear from forensic linguist Dr. Dakota Chung. Dr. Chung will state that after examining the false text tip, in this case along with the posts made by the fake Hayden account and a collection of social media posts made by the defendant, it is in her expert opinion that the author of the false text tip is none other than defendant Reagan Klein. Therefore, because prosecution will prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Reagan sent the false text tip to the East Flamingo Police Department, knew this report was false, knew or should have known the false report would result in the victim being injured, and the victim was in fact injured, we respectfully request the court find the defendant, Reagan Klein, guilty on false report of an emergency.
Thank you. Ms.